So we're gonna break this. We're gonna take our fly and put it into a tree. And we're gonna take this. Now remember, we've got butt section to the double line, sidler connection here, class, and shock. So when we break it, it should break in the middle of the class, and it should look like that. See how all of that is kind of, I guess contorted would be the word, deflected,
warped,
mutilated, maniacally deconstructed. No, but so that's how line, when it's stressed to its breaking point, that's how it looks. And if you take the other side of this, it'll look exactly the same way here. Now it's tied itself in a knot because when it shocked back, it made all kinds of bad decisions. But essentially, when you break off a fish, if your knots were 100%, that's how your class should look. Because materially, the actual monofilament has been kind of rearranged. And it's not straight anymore, and you can feel it as you run your hands through it. It's really warped and just all messed up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break an improved blood knot. Now, on the other side of this, I don't have a Bimini twist, but this is actually a good point, a good opportunity to make a point, which is what I'm going to do on this side of the line is I'm going to wrap it around my hand. So I'm going to create enough surface area here that it won't slip and it'll break outside my hand, which is in essence what's happening inside the Bimini twist. So now we're going to break the improved blood knot. Now look, see how different this line looks? See how straight it is? Now it's not perfectly straight, but it's nowhere near as
mutilated
as the other one is. And that's because we have not stressed this line to the same degree. Now, how much less than 100% is it? We don't know. We just know because it broke in the knot here, we just know that affected it. When you hook a fish, when you break your class, if it looks like that, maybe just some little issues toward the end, that's probably stuff that was pinched by those wraps cutting into itself. One of the easiest ways to think about why knots break, there's an old adage where someone said knots break when they slip, and that's not entirely true. Knots break when they bind. What happens is they bind into themselves and they cut through themselves, which is why if you tie an overhand knot in a class and you pull on it, it's going to break there every single time, because that overhand knot is cutting into itself, and that's where the line breaks. The same thing happened here. And again, I want to show just next to one another the way that the class looks, and it's very, very different. So just to recap, here is the class from the improved blood knot. It's relatively straight. It's as I run it through my fingers, it has a few little dimples on it, but nothing major. Here's the improved blood knot, or what's left of it after it cut into itself and broke. Now, for comparison, here is what's left of the class from the one with the Bimini on both sides of it. You can see how much more affected the class is, how much more, I keep searching for the word here, but you get the idea. And the other thing to point out is the two Biminis are intact. They're not the weak point here. For whatever reason, the weak point in this line was at that little point right there. But all of the line was stressed to the same degree, which is why all of that deflection happens all the way back to the Bimini.